to the channel for new battle report. So I have been a little break, but I'm back with 9th age battle reports from ETC round 2. So after a good round 1 where we won, we capped against Austria, we had a pairing against Italy, who have beaten us heavily last year. They capped us, in fact, last year. So we were eager to get a revenge against them. And we knew already that it was going to be for us a very important moment in the ETC because, yeah, we were both, I think, one of the favorite teams. Definitely Italy, they won last year, so they were a very strong candidate. And ourselves, we try to aim each year for high place. So definitely this was going to be a big match for us. After the pairing process, I was paired against their Orcs and Goblins player. So let's talk about the list. This is my list, you know it already, and this is my opponent's list. So as you can see, he's playing a lot of tools in the list. So basically we have a couple of units of feral orc that are together with the troll, I think the combat part of his list, we could say. Then he has a couple of artillery piece together with a solid magic, which makes it a very strong range damage. So he can be very good in standoff. So basically the first part of the list here is good to maintain the standoff, and then he has some pieces to get point from distance. He has a lot of tricks, as you will be able to see. He has some chaff unit. Here also the Huntman is a cheap character that can do a lot of stuff. And then a couple of Madgits, a couple of more scoring unit, also Relentless Banner. So plenty of tools and tricks in, I would say, an unusual Orc and Goblin list that is, I think mainly based, it's typically the type of list where you would say you would play the match better the second time you face it. I think it's a bit unusual, a lot of tricks, and you might be fooled by some stuff on the list by thinking, okay, it doesn't look that strong, and then all the pieces coming together with the little tricks can easily surprise you. We were playing Spoil of War on Dawn Assault, so basically, as you can expect, a battle from the middle for the middle spoil. Both other spoils should be in favor of the person having a strong flank. So basically, that's how it's supposed to be. At least that's the expectation. And below you have the spell selection. As we can expect, strong range damage. We have Trial of Faith. We have End of Heaven. We have the Wrath of God. So very good. Very good support. I think this was a number 3. It was number 2. It was Might the Unbeliever. But very good setup for his magic. Matchup analysis. So unusual list, lot of tools, decent combat, good range damage. I think that sums it up. Multiple blocks. So not easy for my list to attack. Remember, I think one of the weaknesses of my list could be against mass army, and we could say that he has a lot of bodies on the table. So I need to reduce them a little bit to trim them before I can push forward. Secondary, I expect an easier spoil, battle for the middle, and starting I think would be an advantage here. We could get board control easily and get closer to the spoil, so I think that's definitely a big plus in the matchup. Estimation was a 10 in my matrix. So deployment wise, I won the roll for side, unfortunately I would say. I debated a bit with my team. My first idea was to go here opposite side, but after we discussed with my colleague and coach, we established to go like that, to basically give him an impassable and make hard for him to get close to this spoil. But as you can see, he was able to easily counter that by using the Marauder that is very fast moving to get in 2 turns onto this spoil and then use the hill as a strong position. So I think definitely the choice of side was a mistake. I should have stayed on my first ID. I think, part of this mistake, I would also say, I don't blame the teammate that gave me this advice or the coach, but also I would say after the first game, I lost a bit confidence. Heavy loss to start ETC is not easy, especially if you come with high expectation. So definitely I wasn't feeling too confident too well for this game on the afternoon, and I knew it was going to be an important game, so I wanted to do well. So that's also the reason why I think I didn't trust myself enough to follow my initial idea, which would have been to not have an impassable in my battle line and because basically I have the similar problem here, as you can see. I also have an impassable facing my spoil, which is not that easy. So yeah, I think here in hindsight I should have taken the other part of this half of the map. Anyway, let's move back to deployment. So we drop everything for first turn, which was expected. We have 1 unit of feral, 2 units of feral, 3 units of feral, the trolls. In the back, you have some gnashers here. The second unit of gnashers is somewhere here in the back, I would say. Yeah, goblin here. The 2 units of goblin are here, and then you have the war machine in the back, and and we have the Goktuk in ambush, as well as the Madgate coming up later. On my part, so I went with Truck Anointed from left to right, then we have Incarnate, we have the Vassal Levies, we have the Blunderbuss block facing this one. So basically you see my plan is coming with the Anointed for this one, supported by the Incarnates to establish here a strong flank and get this spoil easily. I also debated before the match together with my teammate and coach if I should use the Lugars that I instead deployed right here to pick the strong spoil, to just make it sure that they pick it. I also knew that the Lugars don't have a good matchup against those feral block, so I felt if they go strong flank, they won't be faced by any block here. So that could have been a potential idea, either on this side or even better on the other side, to just deploy them on the strong flank and go for the spoil as soon as possible. That was my initial idea, but again, due to my mindset at the beginning of the game, I followed the advice to not do it and just use the Anointed for that. So yeah, Lugars together, so strong middle, and then the giant on the right to zone him. And here I was able to find the spot out of the catapult that don't see me, both of them. So the Overlord is safe for now and can support in case he would push too much with the trolls. Let's move on to Eastern one. So he pushed forward, nothing crazy to say. I think here we can mention the spider that's trying to hurt here the left flank. And as I told you, on the right flank he pushes with the Marauders to get on the second turn on the hill and on the spoil, which is perfect position for him. The rest just covers properly his position to make hard for me to push forward, because there are here strong battle line with multiple blocks that are looking at me and making sure that if I push too much I get combo charge. In Magic Phase he get End of Heaven, did 1 wound to the Lugars, and then he also got Wrath of God in front of me, I think somewhere here, with 4 dice against 5. So it was a bit annoying for me. But yeah, that's his magical setup, which is really good. My turn 1, I push for the ward. Like I said, I wanted to, as soon as possible, to establish a strong left flank. I make sure that he cannot escape the Incarnate, even with the spider, to make sure that I can threaten him as well, looking at the center as well. And then I push a bit the Blunderbuss, keep the Overlord behind for the moment, and I move back with the giant, because I know that here I'm not going to achieve anything with this unit facing me, because if they charge me they kill me and I cannot really engage them. They are faster than me, so there is no purpose for the giant. So I better reposition the giant to use him in a later stage to chaff one of those feral units, which are a very good matchup for the giant. In the Magic Phase I got Pentagram, kill 3 ferals, and Breast Weapon, kill 2 ferals. Everything put against this unit, because that's the main unit that's going to go for this central spoil. So I'm thinking about secondary. If I reduce them enough, then I should be advantage on this spoil here. His turn 2. So as you can see, he forms a good battle line, takes a go on the spoil here on the right. So a very solid line defending the middle. On the left flank is starting to cause him problem, the Goktuk ambush right here. And one thing that I'm learning right now, I didn't know at this point of the game, is that he can then later pop some Madgate from this unit. For some reason I thought that the Goktuk lost their ability to be scoring, so I didn't know that they were, and in this case he can release Madgate from them, which is definitely a very good plan to trap my Troika 90 that are completely trapped and cannot anymore charge this character here. So well done from him. This charge is too long for me, so that's well done. Starting to put some pressure on the left, and this unit is scoring, so can also be an option for this spoil. So well done. The Magic Phase get another Wrath of God on 3 dice against 4. So as you can see, the first one I think somewhere here or behind my bastion, on my bastion, I would say, and he gets another one in the same region. So 2 times Wrath of God with 1 dice less than me. Yeah, that's how it is. He kills a couple with the catapult. I think he did 3 wounds to my bastion here, and also a couple of infernal warriors. So he got a direct hit on the bastion. Try to do some wounds. So yeah, it's not starting well. As you can see, I'm threatened on the left flank, threatened on the right flank, where he's in here. He has a spoil. He is making my life really hard to try to get to this spoil, and the middle one is just zoning me effectively. So I need to find some IDs. My turn 2, I start to push a bit more with the blunderbuss, getting close to the forest, leaving him with long charges. As you can see, this unit is quite depleted from the turn 1, so I did some wounds. I start to push with the bastion and look at him. Redeploy the giant that's going to go in a later stage here in the middle in this gap to try to go in against the Pharaoh at some point. I keep the overlord behind. Turn around, beat the incarnate here. I find a way to move back and reform and turn around, basically making this distance a bit longer. And in case he reaches me, he's not even sure to do that much, and those guys here are trapped, meaning they have no way to move out of my line of sight. So I can at least eat those guys, making sure that he has no scoring close to them. So I just need to survive those mad gates. On average, he should do 1 on me, the other one shouldn't reach me, most likely, so it could be a stop to my charge. We'll see what he does, but I could have some option depending on what happens with the mad gate, but it's not so easy, definitely. In the magic phase, I get failed breast weapon, I got a pentagram, kill some more feral in this unit, making easier for my unit to try to start to push a bit forward. Let's move on to his turn 3. Yeah, this happens. So he moves the band gate, 1 goes through, roll crazy high. I don't remember how is the strength and so on, but I think he wounds me on a 5-up, and he did a very high amount of wounds, and just kill like 4 wounds, something like that. I needed to check on a 9. I failed check and I fled off the board. So yeah, that's a big fee to pay for me for this lack of anticipation on the left flank, but well done to him. So now I need to use the incarnate to secure the left flank, which is not so easy because those feral are starting to push a bit. I moved the spider back towards the middle to make here against a strong zone to stop my unit to go for this left spoil. So he's identifying, because he grabbed this one, that if he's strong on both spoil here, it doesn't matter that I put some pressure in the middle of the map. As you can see here, still the battle line with 3 blocks, not so easy for me to push because my bastion cannot get so many combo charge, I think. At least that's what I was thinking at this point of time, but maybe you can debate about that. But still I need to maintain everybody in the front, and that's not going to be easy because you see even that unit here could have a charge range with the warg that is pretty far, at least covering this middle spoil here. So not so easy for the bastion to push in the middle of the map. In magic phase, he got I read here that with 1 fanatic he even did 6 wounds to the anointed. So at the beginning I was happy because I was thinking if I have 1 model alive, I can then move here as a single model and then be safe and try to help my incarnates to counter here and come later maybe on the spoil. So I still had some plans, but then I failed the 9 reroll and the 9 non-rerollable and fled off the board. So that was a double punition to get 6 wound on res 5 with a fanatic and then panic off the board. Was hard to take on. Yes. What happened in magic phase? He got no Wrath of God right now. One of the catapult misfire, and I think the other one did nothing. He did a trial of face on my overlord that did no wounds. Let's move on to my turn 3. I start to push closer to this spoil. I know that I need to get it at some point, so I push slowly towards it. I still have time, but I try to establish somehow a battle line, but as you can see there are multiple front. I still keep the giant here to protect here my flank in case he would push too hard, because the Lugars are covering that charge in case he attempt any charge here in the middle. I have the overlord as a counter charge and the Lugars together ready to counter charge in the middle. Left flank, I keep it as it is, but I reform those guys because I know that they are my main unit to go on this spoil at some point. I just need a good protection from the incarnate that makes sure that he cannot fit here in between. So if he wants to come here, I will be able to see him. In the magic phase, I fail another breast weapon. I got a rat within somewhere. I fail a pentagram on one dice. He got a good Wrath of God, the first Wrath of God down, that kills some wounds on my block, but not that much. He didn't manage to roll high, so we just did some wounds here on both blunderbuss unit. Yeah, as you can see, my magic also not doing so well, each failing the breast weapon on 2 dice multiple times, not getting any grave calls, so not that great until now. Haste on 4, I'm making an attacking move here with the spider that is out of line of sight here, so basically the only unit that can charge is this unit, and is not so scared by my unit because he has 1-up rollable, which is a move to basically try to attack here this flank, so he wants to force my incarnate to readjust the positioning because he's pushing also with the feral forward. So that's an interesting move. We'll see how I can react to that. The Madgate here come in front, and obviously I don't see those guys here in the left flank. The right flank here is still the stalemate here, and I'm in a hard position to push because, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 units against 1, 2. The giant far in the back because if you get charged, he's killed. The Overlord is blocked by the catapult. And he still has a Relentless Banner here, still has Gnash Dashers that he can use, so anytime I would push, he could easily chaff me multiple turns, basically until the end of the game. So yeah, it's feeling comfortable for him and not so good for me right now, but I still have some ideas. In the magic phase, he's getting, I just remembered the other Wrath of God came down, did some wounds to my Bastion unit, but nothing crazy. Okay, let's see how I react on my turn 4. So I managed to find a reform here that this guy here is chaffed, and basically even if he charges me, those guys cannot wheel past him. So basically it's blocking the charge on my Bastion, it's blocking the charge on the Incarnate, blocking the charge on everything. So I'm quite happy with the positioning. I'm just a little bit in the forest to get some shots and not suffer from cover. Also getting this guy with line of sight here on the left flank, and I turn around with the Incarnate this time to move here. So as you can see, he went with another Madgate out on this unit, I think, so another 2 Madgate here, which is a lot. I brought the Incarnate as a support because I felt these 2 units is too much for my only blunderbuss and the Overlord to manage, and I still need to push toward the middle, and I felt those guys can maybe solve the situation on these guys. I felt I still have some time to manage them on the left flank. Here I finally get into a better position with the giant, and those guys turn around to zone him. He cannot move out. So the giant is here to try to activate maybe later. In the magic phase, I got Gravecold, kill 7. I think I start to strike, maybe still at this unit. Yeah, or maybe I start to do some wounds here. I'm not sure it's this turn or the next one, but doesn't matter. I also this time get lucky with the breast weapon, kill another 3 with 2 dice against 4. So it was my time to be lucky. Let's move on to his turn. So he's not going to charge me. He finds a good trick that I didn't know. So basically he can put those guys on a wag. They will be light troop to maneuver all this way on the token, because I measured that it was not possible to move with a normal movement. So that's why I wasn't too concerned about the left flank, because I felt he cannot be on it on turn 5 and then grab it turn 6. But what I didn't know is that he can use the wag, be light troop, move here, be on the token, and on his start of turn 6, he became scoring, he will be scoring again and be able to grab it. So another surprise for me, and I wasn't prepared for it. He gets fanatic through my unit, did some wounds, another one in front, so those guys cannot charge anymore. And he stays in front of me because he's double chaffing me. Those guys, they just turn around. Yeah, as you can see, I started to do wounds on them with the magic. I did a lot of casualties. He just turns around because now he's on the spoil. He has those guys to maybe chaff me. He double chaffs me. Not so bad actually for him, so he can start to retreat. Those guys retreat, everything else retreat. He doesn't give me any points. Those guys move back, and those guys just looking at the middle. So yeah, quite good for him. I mean, I took no points for the moment almost, except some Madgates, but he's a very strong position for the secondary, and yeah, even if I push for the middle, which is my plan next turn, I need to find solution for those guys here on the left. So will be not easy. In magic phase, he did 7 hits, strength 5 on my overlord, but did nothing, and got a raven wings to move those guys even further away, which I didn't mind. My turn 5. So I elected not to charge. I turn around the incarnate and I move out with the overlord because I know that there is some sense of urgency. I use my vassal levies to kill his last man kit, to not be blocked by that. I reform those guys still chaffing him, and I can shoot him with max as possible. I'm out of the I think the beginning in the forest, but the center of my base is out of the forest. Those guys are looking that way, so I'm just making sure that I have 2 units looking at you. So even if you grab it, no matter what, I want to be able to charge you. My bastion go on the token to make it a tie with this unit. So as you can see, I'm trying to tie the secondary, get some small points, and get closer to a 10. Even if I lost some points, but he also lost some very small stuff. Maybe I can kill this guy here to recover, so we'll see. In the magic phase, I get a breast weapon and a grave call, and I think I kill like 8 or 10 feral in this unit here, just in case he would want to try to charge. Yeah, I think that's about it. Let's see what he will come up. So on his turn 6, he has multiple march check to achieve what he wants, but we will see. So he managed to move his general here to be within 15 here, but he doesn't have a BSB. So the general allows him to get a march check because I was within 8. So it was a march check here to make this move, and those guys are able to move here in a column, more or less this position. And then those guys, they grab the token, they are able to move here. I think it was just slightly behind, like a couple of inches behind, but that you see the ID, like 2-3 inches behind. And just making a wall in the way that those 2 units are in the front. And basically, I cannot charge directly into the scoring unit. I can only charge a unit in the front. I can get an overrun, but that's going to be my 6 and it's going to be the end of the game. So the only thing I can do to him is basically a panic check when I kill the unit in the front, and maybe a panic check from range damage, and that's about it. Which would be 2, I think, discipline. I don't know, maybe he had 15 here. Yeah, I think he had 15 here. So he was able to get discipline 8 non-rollable 2 times. So the first one was this one, which was key to chaff me, because if he failed the first one, he's not able to chaff me, and then I'm going to eat this unit. But yeah, we will see if he passes the 2 other one at the end of my turn. This guy stays here chaffing me. I think he failed the march check. Yeah, and the rest just move. Yeah, I know. I think he charged me. Yeah, he charged me. That's what happened. He charged me, tried to get me because I'm in horde formation. I did some wound to the shooting, I think like 2 wounds maybe. So he's still alive, and he just tried to block me because he was afraid he would fail the march check, I guess. Okay, and also he didn't want those guys free, maybe for a late push to force some panic check, get some points. So I think that was his idea here. In magic phase, he gets 1 wound with d6 plus 1 on my overlord, and then the catapult will... I think he had only 1 catapult that could shoot. The other one misfired at some point. So he had 1 catapult on a 5-up, and the other bolter was on a 6-up, and both didn't hit my overlord, luckily for me. I still have the ward save, he still has 2 wounds, so I felt that's an acceptable risk due to the fact that we are playing for the secondary. My 6, I don't have a picture, but what did I do? So I grabbed the token, and I reformed 3 wide, to just be enraged to do magic damage on them to force the first panic check. I will do that in magic, and I will pass the 8 non-rollable. Obviously I double charge here with the 2 units to kill them and force another 8 non-rollable, and here I just kill this guy in combat, and that's everything happened. And in the last panic check, after I kill the Dashers, he passes another 8. So yeah, that's 3 non-rollable 8. He needed for me to fail one of these to let me tie the secondary. I didn't manage to do that, so he wins the secondary, and therefore he wins the fight 13-7. So congrats to him. I think overall we could say that it's a deserved victory for Orc and Goblin because he played better than me, had a better macro. And I think if you see the battle, while he was pushing for winning the secondary, I was only able to try to draw it, and I was never in a position to win it due to my macro that was not so good. So definitely a better game from his side, and I think a deserved victory here. So well done, congrats to him for the battle. So side, I felt the other cutting was better. Like I said at the beginning, I never been able to threaten his right flank, like I mentioned before. I was never able to really threaten him. Deployment, the Lugars, like I said, they had bad matchup against the big block. So if I go right flank, you will see, I think I put a picture afterwards, but basically going on this hill on turn 1, on 2 turns, going on the spoil on the hill, and then establishing a strong position with no big block facing me, so threatening the flank with the Lugars that are able to maintain the token much longer. So I should basically have been able to secure that with the Lugars. Did I respect his combat power units too much? We could debate that. Multiple times I asked myself, could I push the Bastion a bit more? Too tempted to charge me with Ferals. I know it's not so good matchup for him, but I was afraid of the number of model alive and the cascade of potential combats that could happen afterwards. Because if he sends, for example, a first Feral unit, he will do some wounds. Then maybe he send the Trolls. I could potentially send the Overlord, but then the Overlord is out in the open, get magicked and shot, maybe dies, and then he send me something else. And I was feeling in the Resource game, due to the fact that he has 2 Gnasher Dasher Chaff plus a Relentless unit, I felt that I was going to lose this game. He was going to be able to chaff my counter charge, getting more charge, and at some point I would lose the Bastion. So that was what I was afraid of. Yeah, turn 2 and 3 Orc and Goblin, and it sums up my strong left flank, strong bracket, left flank. I was not so aware of his ambushes. That's lack of preparation, you could say. I didn't know the trick that he could do with those Mad Gates on the left, due to the fact that those guys were scoring, and also the light troop trick that allows him to come on the token. So all that stuff that I didn't know and I should have. So definitely they caused me a lot of trouble due to just better preparation would have saved me from that, basically. Turn 5-6, surprised by the light troop. Yeah, I told you that. Turn 6, a late chance to roll secondary, so it's non-rollable 8 3 times, so one from the Marcheck, one from the shooting, and the other one magic or shooting, I don't remember which one, but the last one from after the combat. So 3 times non-rollable 8. On average you should fail one of the 3. It didn't happen, but like I said, I cannot complain, since he played a better game than me. It would have been a little older for me to come out with a 10-10. Yeah, I think overall I'm very disappointed about my choices. Like I said, for me the logical explanation for that was the fact that I wasn't in a good mindset, wasn't full, in confident mindset that I wanted for this game after my very disappointing game 1. And that's the reason why I didn't trust myself enough to follow my gut feeling, which was the right one at the end, which was cut the other part of the map, go on the token with the Lugars to make sure that I maintain it. I have it for the whole game long, basically, and can still use the Lugars because they have enough rank that they can march and they can go into some combats after I deplete the unit that will be guarding this weak flank for him. So should have trust my instinct more, but definitely for me the main reason is my bad display on round 1. So as you can see, one bad game can have consequences on other bad games at this level, and that's a learning also for me, I think, for next year. So yeah, like I was saying, I think the best deployment should have been this way for me. The Lugars going for this one position on the hill is really good, and you get a token. There is nothing in this part of the map, meaning the first block could be here. I can be placing the Bastion in a position to go behind this wall, starting to do damage on this unit, which allows then the Lugars to push, allows then the Bastion to push and go in the middle in the second stage. Play with the 2 single model around impassable, so the Giant and the Overlord can easily hide here at the beginning, or maybe the Overlord here on the left to avoid the catapult. Depends where he deploys the catapult, but the Overlord can also play here and guard a bit the left flank without being seen by the catapult, depends where he deploys them, or can go also behind the Giant. So I think the 2 of them together can also go behind the Anointed, which allows him to play, so the Anointed can also be a position here in the forest. And then maybe threaten even the left flank a little bit. We can have the Overlord behind, having line of sight here on the left. So I think plenty of plays that justifies the combination of these 3 units on the left. And here maybe a bit less central for the Bastion, because I need to make sure that the Bastion can do damage here, which is key for the Lugars then to push into the battlefield and then continue my push towards the middle here of the map. And as you can see, I'm also giving him a forest in his strong flank, making some charges for big block, maybe uncomfortable due to the forest. I can also use a wall to my advantage. So yeah, I think that would have been way better. But yeah, I think that's another game where I can learn a lot from. It was a very standoff-ish game, very close, very tactical, where Andrea just played better than me, so logical victory for him. What happened? So we got capped, unfortunately. As you can see, we saw the troubles coming from the pairing. I put you here the score from our pairing matrix. So we came up with only 1 positive matchup, 3 slight negative, and then 4, 10, 10 in our view. So as you can expect, this might be even not as good as we see it, because that's our point of view. Most likely Italy had even a better score than 78 from after the pairing. Actually, if some Italian guy from the ETC team is watching the video, and if you could tell me what was the expected score after pairing, I would be very curious to see if it's, but I would suppose that it's much higher than 82. I think they had a good pairing, and the reason why for us, a very complicated matrix. As you can see here from below, we had a total of 26 matchup with an estimation of 8 or less. So it's 8 times 8, 64 potential matches total, and as you can see, like 1/4 of that, more than 1/4, yeah, 1/4 of that, more or less, almost 1/3 is negative matchups to avoid. So basically, all our pairing strategy was to avoid the red matches more than creating green matches, and we only got 1 positive matchup after the pairing, which is the start of the troubles. And then at the table, it didn't go that well. So we got Xavier that won 13 on estimation of 9. As you can see, myself losing on the secondary, moving my estimation down to the 7. Mike lost also a little bit, 6. Andy didn't go well again against ID, which is not his favorite matchup. Then we got Dim close to his estimation, 9 to 8. Victor a bit lower than expected with a 4. Then Coco didn't manage to win it against Alberto on a positive game, and we had also Paul losing 8. But as you can see, we didn't take so big losses, 2 heavier losses, but I mean, nobody got 0, 1 or 2. Still got just capped because, yeah, they won on most table. I think a very important aspect also to mention, more than the pairing, is also the fact, if I remember correctly, I think the Italians started on 6 table out of 8, and I think all 8 table where the player started, included our table, the player won the secondary. I think that's what I remind from it. Shouldn't be far from that, but yeah, I think here starting the game had a huge impact on the secondary. So it's not an excuse, but I think we have some important factor to explain here the big defeat. The first one is the pairing matrix against Italy, which was definitely bad, so meta problem. And the second one, the first roll for who was going to start, was another blow. Basically, each time drawing from our score lower and lower the expected score. And I think then what I saw, at least on my table and on other table, that they didn't take any risk. They just play on their advantage to get us closer and closer to the cap, and then it just went at the end their way, and they were able to move it, I think, from like a 90 victory towards a cap, and congrats to Italy. It's another cap from them against us. So definitely very disappointing for us. We took a long time in the evening to analyze what went wrong. We knew that our ambition to win ETC was already over for this year after day 1. So that's definitely not something we are used to, but yeah, we needed to. I think it's always good when you take this kind of collective disappointment in the evening, because you have the time to reflect, to analyze, to discuss, to sleep, and to come back the next day with a fresh energy and a better mindset. At least that worked really well for me. I was obviously on a personal level very disappointed after this first day. Yeah, we'll discuss about that in the conclusion video more in detail, but definitely feeling bad, like 7 points, 2 defeats, but more of that, it's not due to game fact, it's more due to unoptimal plays from my side, and that's definitely something that I was frustrated about, because I felt I could have been and should have been able to play better, because I've been displaying better game level during the year. So I wasn't really able to understand at the time why wasn't I be able to play better, basically, because I'm totally capable of it, and I didn't do it. So one of the reasons that I was able to identify quickly was definitely preparation in both matchup. I think I wasn't prepared well enough. I didn't understand enough both lists, so I think that was definitely something. But yeah, it's definitely something I needed to sleep on, and the next day went better, because we knew that it's not over. I mean, ETC is long. We already went on the podium before, as you can see here on the top right. So we knew that the way towards the podium sometimes can be done even with a big loss, because then you have 2 days to climb back the table and get some good wins. So it was definitely doable, and we were motivated again to go back. The next day we were starting against Team USA. Guys, thanks a lot for watching, and talk to you soon for the next battle report. Bye.